Hey guys, Jacob here. It is currently the 8th of February 2022, and this is going to be this week's vendor reset. At the front desk vendor this week, the named item they're selling is the Providence Defense Sacrifice chest piece. In my opinion, the rolls on this are pretty bad. I would not recommend picking this one up unless you absolutely need it. You can get rid of the skill haste and put something like critical hit chance, then you could optimize this and make it work, but I would just recommend farming loot allocation areas to find a better one. I'm going to scroll through a few more items in case you guys need any of these rolls. The next item I am going to point out is going to be the Sockloff Concern Vest, and it does have weapon damage, critical hit damage, hazard, and entrench. And you can get rid of entrench and put intimidate, obliterate, or unbreakable, whatever you like, and you could optimize this out and make it a pretty decent chest piece, or if you're just starting and you want something to get by, you could use this and just change the main talent and use it until you find a better one. But that's about it for the front desk vendor. Now if you go under the helipad and go to the double white doors right here, you will see a sign that says Clan Quarters. Shout out to DOD and Kamikaze on Doom. And this is the Clan Quarters. This week they're selling the Baker's Dozen. In my opinion, if you guys don't have this weapon, and especially if you're new, I'd highly recommend picking this up. You can change the reload speed to something more effective like damage darts out of cover. And also, this is probably one of the most used rifles in the game, at least from what I've been told. All my friends use this rifle, or they use some kind of M1A that has a damage talent on it. But if you're new and looking for a pretty decent weapon to start off with, I would recommend grabbing this. Other than that, I'm going to scroll through the rest of the items at the clan vendor in case you guys need them. They are selling max weapon handling if you guys need that for your library, just to have every single stat, and also max headshot damage if you guys need that. And the gloves alone right here are actually not too bad. You can optimize critical hit damage and get rid of headshot and put critical hit chance, and these would be some pretty decent Sockloff concern gloves. But other than that, that's going to be about it for the double vendors at the front desk, which is the clan vendor and the front desk vendor. Now we're going to head over to the theater settlement, which is where the next vendor is located in the corner of the room, which is right here. This week, he is selling the firm handshake gloves. These ones are pretty low on weapon damage, but you could optimize them if you wanted to and change the health to something more effective, but in my opinion, I would just farm for better ones. I'm going to scroll through the rest of these items in case you guys want to pick this stuff up. But that's about it for the theater settlement. Next up is going to be the campus settlement, which is actually currently invaded. Used to, when it was invaded, you couldn't actually access the vendor. You actually had to go clear the blockade, and then it would open up, and you'd be able to, buy stuff from the vendor. But since they fixed that a good while ago, you no longer have to do that. You can just run up in here and take a left, and you'll see the sign vendor, which is right here. This week she is selling the Gilgard Night Watcher. This has the 100% scanner pulse haste. This one's not too bad if you want to get rid of the weapon handling and put something else that's way more effective. And if you don't have it, I would recommend just grabbing it so you have one in your stash. But overall, that's about it for the campus settlement. Next up is going to be the Dark Zones, which is DZ West, DZ South, and DZ East. And if you want to buy anything from these vendors, keep this in mind, you will need DZ resources, which you can get by deconstructing gear in the DZ and extracting it, and then it will go into your stash, or opening tiny little crates around the DZ that have one resource per crate, and they also go right to your inventory. This week he's selling the Everlasting Gaze. In my opinion, this is one of the more useless snipers, aka rifle, in the game. But if you are looking for it, I would just recommend grabbing it or farming loot allocation areas. Next is going to be max critical hit damage if you guys need that for rifles. But other than that, that's all he's really selling this week. I will point out the going to your knee pads if you guys are looking for an armor regen build. If you want to get rid of the headshot damage and put something like critical hit chance, or just max out the armor and make these work, you guys could do so, but I know a lot of people would just get rid of headshot and put something else than optimize the armor. But at the same time, that's a good chunk of armor you're going to be optimizing, so it might be better potentially just to steal the stat if you don't have it for armor regen and putting on a better piece of knee pads. Next is going to be DZ South, which is down here. Keep this in mind, I do apologize if I do something a little different, because I am recording this as soon as I caught up. It is still pretty early, but I try to get these vendor resets out to you guys as fast as possible so you can see what's for sale this week. But this is DZ South. She is selling the Rail Splitter. This actually used to be one of my favorite weapons in the game until they changed it to Perfect Accurate. It actually used to be Perfect Measured, but they had two guns that had that talent, so I could see why they changed it. So if you guys didn't have this, would recommend grabbing if you're looking for it, or farm loot location areas to find one. But overall, nothing too crazy at the DZ South vendor this week. Next is going to be DZ East, which is going to be the last DZ vendor, and then we're going to make our way over to Haven in New York. Now this vendor takes a second to get to because you have to run all the way down here. You could fast travel to the door, but sometimes it just puts you in a loading screen, and I just find it easier to just run up here and get it over with. And as soon as you go up the stairs, she'll be on the right here. This week she's selling the Black Friday. If you guys do not have the Black Friday, I would highly recommend picking this up. It's one of my favorite LMGs in the game, or probably my favorite LMG in the game, due to the fact it has perfect unhinge on it. This one has damage charge off cover, headshot damage, LMG damage, which are pretty average, but you can change the headshot damage to damage charge off cover and optimize this, and in my opinion, it's one of the better LMGs in the game. I know the MG5 is out there as well, and the Pestilence, but if you're a big fan of the Saw, then I would recommend picking this gun up. It does have 4 attachment slots for mods, and it will cost you 152 credits, but I know some people have been looking for this gun for quite some time now. Next is going to be max critical chance for this Paratrooper Svd. Scroll through the rest of the stuff for you guys. And that's really going to be about it. But if you do not have the Black Friday, and you've been looking for it for quite some time now, I haven't seen it for sale in the vendor for quite some time now. So if you want to just hop over here and spend the credits, I would recommend doing so, and then just slowly optimizing it. Or you can, try farming it, of course. But at the same time, who knows how long that might take you. This is going to be the final 2 vendors on the list, which is going to be the front desk. And keep this in mind, they don't sell any named items. He's selling max skill haste for backpacks if you guys need that. But that's really going to be about it. And there are only 2 vendors in New York. I know someone a while back asked me, who was a few new players, were saying, why is there only 2 vendors? I don't know why. That's just how many they put in here. And this week, Roy Benitez is pretty much selling all stuff that's completely useless. There are a few items in here that I am pointing out you guys might be able to use. For one, is going to be the Golden Gear holster. It already has armor regen on it, critical hit damage, and has 109,000 armor. You can change out that armor for something higher and make this for an armor regen build. Next is going to be these gloves, which are Providence. You can obviously roll the weapon damage and make these higher, or craft new pairs. But especially if you're new and you're trying to make something work like a DPS build and get by, you could pick these up and just use them in the meantime. And same goes for the Seska backpack. It does have vigilance on it, and weapon handling hazard and weapon damage. You could just use this in the meantime until you find a better one, or you just might want to take vigilance off there so you have it for a DPS build in the future. And as for weapons, if you're looking for a weapon to use in the meantime and you can't find a decent one, then you could pick up this P416. It's not too bad. There are a few other guns you can use as well, but if you're trying to get a gun for level 40, it shouldn't be too hard to find one that's pretty decent. There's the AK, the P4, the Carbine 7, the FAMAS, and you could just go to the crafting vendor or crafting bench, sorry, I can't speak, and just craft one and see if you can get one that way. But if you're new and you're having shit luck crafting something, then you could use some of those items if you're just trying to get by. But overall, thank you guys all for watching. Make sure you subscribe for more Division content, and I'll catch you guys all later.